Hello and welcome back to Stronghold. I'm the Magi and this is Meta Monday. In fact, we've got kind of a special one for you today. We're doing a twofer. That's right, in recognition of this week's Midweek Magic, which will be the very first offering of the new Pick2 draft format. I'm giving you a double serving of Meta Monday. The first thing, of course, is to talk about the Foundation's limited environment. And, well, this is about almost a year old, really. I went back on my Patreon and found the post that, well, I do every single season, every single limited environment, talking about how that early draft environment is shaping up and how we as budget players can best use it and utilize it to reach our goals as players on Arena. Normally, that is something that my patrons pay for. Starting at $1 a month, you can get that over there. And as I said, I do that every single season, but don't despair because since we're doing this flashback to Foundations here, I went back to that, I don't know, late November post and have now made it available free to everyone. As long as you have an account with Patreon, you can see that and get an idea of, well, frankly, what you're missing out on by not being a supporting patron as these sets continue to come faster and faster and faster. Will it ever end? I don't know. My goodness, we barely have 2-3 weeks in Edge of Eternities, and we not only have 100+ cards spoiled for Spider-Man, but we have 100+ cards spoiled for Avatar: The Last Airbender, and the official spoiler season for Spider-Man, the next set, starts, you guessed it, tomorrow. So it's going to be coming fast and furious. So if you want some tips, some things to think about for this Pick2 draft in Foundations, a set that we've had for almost a year now, you can definitely run over to my Patreon and check that out for absolutely free. And I'm not going to go into a lot of details there because I think I did a much better job of presenting it, and I don't really want to just sit here and read it to you because, well, that's boring for everyone. The other meta issue that I think we need to talk about is there are a couple of new cards that are now being offered in Timeless, and a lot of people are making a big hubbubaloo about this. Of course, the first being a Ren of 6, or excuse me, Ren and 6, not Ren of 6. That's a Star Trek reference. But a 2-mana Planeswalker with 3 loyalty. The interesting thing here is its +1 ability, return up to 1 target land card from your graveyard to your hand. And the card that is getting most talked about and is potentially most busted with our girl Ren is good old Strip Mine. As you can see, this card is not legal for Historic in either best of 1 or best of 3 formats. But for those that aren't familiar with the awe-goshing love that is Strip Mine, it is a land. It can tap for a colorless mana, or you can sacrifice it to destroy target land, generally your opponent's. And the thing about this is if you have your mana established for what you're trying to do with your deck, or you can afford to take a couple turns off, you can use Ren and 6's +1 ability to return a Strip Mine back to your hand every single turn and systematically just destroy all of your lands. Or not all of your lands, all of your opponent's lands. That would be more tactically sound to destroy your opponent's lands. And if you notice here, there's not a lot of limitations. It doesn't say destroy target non-basic land. It doesn't say anything like that person gets to go get a basic and put it into play. No, you just get to blow up any land they have on the field. And let me tell you, when this deck that people are all aflutter about for Timeless gets going, yeah, you can absolutely do that. You can go in and just destroy their entire mana base and leave them with nothing. I'm not saying it's a good strategy. I'm not saying it's a nice thing to do, but it is viable in Timeless now. The other land card that is getting quite a lot of talk is Ancient Tomb. Again, not legal for Historic Best of 1 or Historic Best of 3. It taps for 2 colorless mana, and it deals 2 damage to you. I mean, honestly, that's a pretty fair deal for that sort of mana boost, letting you ramp out things like Eldrazi and stuff like that all the faster. Of course, this gets somewhat mitigated by the fact that we do have Strip Mine in the format. So Ancient Tomb is a little less of a threat because opponents in theory are packing Strip Mine to deal with things like Ancient Tomb or your other Eldrazi enablers. So the question then remains, how real is this? Is it actually happening? And one of the places that I like to look at for that is MtG Goldfish. They do a top format breakdown showing all the best, or not the best cards, but the most played cards, the most played creatures, spells, and, well, here we go, lands. I will go ahead and save you all the reading on screen. Wrenn and 6 is not in this list. Whether it just hasn't been enough time yet for it to start showing up, I don't know. But when we get down here to lands, we see the number 1 entry is Ancient Tomb, with 59% of Timeless decks running a 4-of playset. And then we've got things like your fetch lands, which are kind of to be expected, etc., etc. Shock lands, all that good stuff. And then for number 8, we get down here to Strip Mine, and that's my Strip Mine right there. That's Strip Mine that I had when I first started playing the game. And in fact, I have a somewhat altered copy of the original card like that from Chronicles with a custom altered art that, well, let's say it puts the strip in Strip Mine. But nice little shadow effect. Nothing distasteful. I like it. Hey, teach their own. But 36% of decks in Timeless are running, again, a 4-of copy of this card. And if you look at the other lands in this list, you're looking at like 2.5 average numbers of copies, 2.3, 1.8, all the way down to 1.0 in the case of Hedge Mage, because, well, I mean, it's kind of a dual land. But anyway, so we are seeing Ancient Tomb, we are seeing Strip Mine. At least so far, MtG Goldfish and their data is not seeing Wrenn and 6. So probably not any sort of adjustments, restrictions, things like that coming anytime too terribly soon. Now, with that having been said, the other thing that I like to look at in a meta report is, of course, Aetherhub. And when we look at Timeless Best of 1, we see there's about 5 decks that are running more than 4% of the meta. And the first here is a bit of a Zombify deck. Well, you know what? We've got these all right here. Let's just take a look here. This is that first one. 11.9% of the meta. That's up over the past week. And well, we're running win rates as high as 80% in some cases, but generally more like 57, I think, here. We do have one gentleman here that list at least did 100 wins, 82 losses, so almost 200 games played on that particular deck list. And then we get some kind of subpar things going on here. But really, this is just another version of Zombify. I talk about this deck, of course, for Standard. You can do the same thing here with some different things. In fact, a lot of these creatures are just straight up Standard legal stuff right now, which is kind of interesting to me. Breaker of Creation, of course, not a Standard card. We also have the good old Timeless staples. Reanimate also in this list. Dark Ritual, Demonic Tutor, But then you got other stuff like Bitter Triumph, which is just straight out of standard. Faithless Looting's in here, Cut Down that just left standard. Mana Base, we see none of those scary cards, quote unquote, in the list whatsoever. So let's look at the number 2. And let's see here. This looks to be Timeless 4-color. Oh, is it a Goblin Charbelcher deck? Is that what's going on here? Is it a Charbelcher deck? It's not really a Charbelcher deck, is it? I mean, I guess technically it is, right? Like, there's no lands. Which, if you're not familiar with it, well, actually, let's do this. Let's pull it up here. Oh, I gotta turn off the land filter. Here we go. All right, so Goblin Charbelcher is a 4-mana artifact, 3 and a tap for its activation. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land card. This artifact deals damage equal to the number of non-land cards revealed this way to any target, i.e., including your opponent. If the revealed land card was a mountain, this artifact deals double that damage instead. Put the revealed card on the bottom of your library in any order. So when you activate this with no lands in your deck, you're going to bust out like 40 damage to your opponent, if not more. So an interesting deck there, one that I have always kind of liked. It's an oldie but goodie. I guess we're using stuff like Chrome Mox. Let's see here. What else have they got here that are actually mana sources? Well, this is a modal double face card. So is that. Okay, so they are using some double face lands as well as Dark Ritual to try and get this thing to pop off. So it makes sense. I think it'll work pretty well. Overall, we're seeing 76% win rate, and more close to the medium, a 64% win rate. So pretty solid. But again, like none of the big timeless threats that everyone's talking about at the moment. So let's go to the next deck. This is basically tied. All the rest of the decks that we're looking at are like 4.8%. This one again is a Goblin Charbelcher. Also running some Reanimate in there, and no lands. So I guess Goblin Charbelcher in reality is more like 9% of the meta. So again, none of the scary stuff going on because you wouldn't want to run lands in this sort of deck, and this deck is not threatened at all by Strip Mine. So I guess that's a thing. And last but not least, of course, we've got Jengatha Boros Energy. And this deck has been around basically since, what is it, Modern Horizons 3 came out, and it hasn't gone anywhere. They have banned cards, they have restricted cards, they've all sorts of things, and it's just not doing anything. This deck is never going to go away. It's always going to be good until they do something about it, and well, I just don't see it. Let's see here, a 63% win rate, and again, a closer to the medium of 58% with over 150, almost 200 games played in the last 7 days. So yeah, it's getting quite a bit of play. So yeah, not really seeing the threats that people want to act like are there. Renin 6 is not showing up at all. Ancient Tomb didn't really show up in any of the top meta decks. Neither did Strip Mine. In fact, Charbelcher seems to be a more relevant threat in Timeless right now than any of these cards that, well, all my brother content creators seem to be up in arms about. Ren and 6, Ancient Tomb, and Strip Mine for a week after release or so, not showing up at all in the meta. So I don't think we have a problem. I don't think we can expect any sort of restrictions. Of course, we will keep our eyes peeled for that. As far as like emergency restrictions and timeless, they do have the option to do that. It's probably 2 to 3 weeks too early for that to happen, with Red and 6 just being introduced. That seems to be the hinge pin piece there. But so far, not showing up whatsoever. So that's really all I got for today, guys, is just talking about those issues. Don't forget, tune in to Midweek Magic this week for your first ever opportunity to play Pick2 Draft. My guess is they're going to use this to test it, and it is not, as a format, going to release just yet on Arena. I still think this is probably going to come out with Spider-Man. And in fact, I have heard whispers from little birds that may hang out with wizards somewhere west of the Mississippi, that the Pick2 draft is going to be the only draft format available for the Spider-Man, not Spider-Man, Open the Omen Paths on Arena. But that remains to be seen. Nonetheless, Foundations Draft, Pick2 or otherwise is a great format. Definitely check it out. And if you're looking to get the inside track and heads up on how to make the most out of that format for you as a budget player, be sure to check out my now free draft analysis of Foundations, available over on Patreon. As always, I want to thank you guys for coming out. This is still kind of an experimental topic with Meta Monday for me. So every little like and viewer helps. So appreciated. And of course, we will be right back here tomorrow on YouTube to stream that first ever Pick2 draft for Midweek Magic. So if you haven't subbed already, make sure to do so. That way you get the go live notifications and you